This is a new video from Shadow Mechanism series by Janina White. AI is not a tool. It is a structural force.
Okay, let's jump right into this. The source material puts this mystery right out in the open. Get this. The problem isn't the code. It's not the models or the servers. It's something else entirely. The failure is happening somewhere much, much deeper in how we fundamentally misunderstand what AI really is.
To really get to the bottom of this, we've got to start with a story we all tell ourselves about AI. You know, it's a simple story, and it's one that makes us feel safe, like we're still in the driver's seat. We love to call AI a tool, and honestly, why wouldn't we? It just feels right. It takes this massively complex, world-changing technology and makes it sound manageable. You know, like it's just a fancy new spreadsheet or another app on our phone. It lets us believe that AI is just here to help us do what we already do, but maybe a bit faster. But this comfortable little myth, this is exactly where all the trouble begins. I mean, think about what a tool actually is. A hammer doesn't redesign the job of a carpenter, right? It just makes hitting the nail a whole lot easier. A tool amplifies what we do, but, and this is the critical part, it doesn't change who's in charge or who's responsible. It just fits neatly into the world we already have.
So, if AI isn't a tool, then what on earth is it? This is where we get to the core idea of this whole explainer, and for a lot of people, it's a really uncomfortable truth. And here's the contrast, laid out plain and simple. A tool helps you from the sidelines, but a structural force gets in there and rebuilds the whole system from the inside out. See, AI doesn't just sit on the edge. It gets right into the middle of our decision-making. It doesn't just give us a boost. It literally reshapes authority and completely changes who we listen to as the expert in the room.
And this is where you can see just how deep that change really goes. AI makes decisions happen at a speed that's just not human. It moves expertise from the person with 20 years of experience to, well, whoever is best at writing the right prompt. And it makes responsibility incredibly blurry. I mean, when something goes wrong, who's to blame? Is it the person who clicks yes, or is it the system that told them to? These are not small tweaks. This is a fundamental rewiring of how our organizations actually work.
So what happens when a company brings in this massive system rewiring force, but they keep insisting it's just a helpful little tool? Well, this is where things get really interesting, and a powerful concept comes into play.
The source calls this the shadow mechanism. The basic idea comes from psychology. When you create something powerful but refuse to acknowledge it, it doesn't just disappear. Nope, it gets pushed into the shadows, where it starts operating without any rules or oversight. It's like that unofficial spreadsheet everyone in the office uses to actually get work done, but that nobody will ever admit exists until it breaks the whole system.
And you can see exactly how this unfolds, step by step. First, you bring in the power of AI. Next, to avoid all those hard conversations about who's in charge, you just label it assistive or a pilot program. This denial pushes its real influence into the shadows. And then, finally, that hidden power comes roaring back when your employees start relying on it unofficially, creating these huge risks that absolutely nobody is assigned to manage.
So here's the main takeaway from all this. The AI itself isn't the real danger. The real danger is the institutional denial. It's pretending it's not a big deal. Because power that we can see, power that we can name and talk about, that's power we can actually manage and govern. But power we pretend doesn't exist, that's when things get truly chaotic.
Okay, this all seems pretty logical, right? So why do so many smart, successful organizations fall right into this trap of denial? Well, the answer isn't that they're ignorant. It's that they have these built-in, almost instinctual defense systems.
Let's just ask the question directly. Why is it so incredibly hard to just admit what's happening? Well, it's because admitting it would force a massive change in identity and power. And frankly, big institutions are designed to resist exactly that kind of change.
And here they are, the defense mechanisms in action. First up, you've got homeostasis. That's basically the organization's immune system fighting like crazy to keep the current pecking order exactly as it is. Then there's the persona, that corporate need to always look like they are 100% in control of everything. Next is projection, which is super clever. You take all that internal fear about power shifting and you redirect it into these big abstract debates about ethics. Then, of course, the classic pilot trap. You're always launching experiments, which makes it look like you're moving forward, but you never actually commit to anything real. And all of this leads right back to shadow adoption, where everyone starts using AI on the sly, creating all that risk we were just talking about.
All right, so that's the problem, that's the diagnosis, but how do we actually fix it? How do we get out of this cycle of denial and get to a place of smart, conscious design?
The first step is really just a shift in how we think. The real goal here isn't to just go faster with AI. The goal is to consciously incorporate it, to give this new power a clear, visible shape inside the organization so that power and responsibility finally line up.
And this is what that actually looks like in the real world. It means having a clear, honest story about what AI is for. It means giving the AI a specific job description, not just letting it do whatever. And most important of all, it means drawing a map with absolutely no ambiguity of who is responsible for what. It's about building a system that makes sense, not just plugging in another app.
All of this work, every one of these design principles, it all boils down to one single, incredibly powerful idea. It's an idea that sounds so simple, but for most organizations, it's totally revolutionary.
Power must be visible to be governable. It's that simple. You cannot manage, you can't direct, and you certainly can't control something you refuse to even see. So the very first step toward a mature, safe, and effective AI strategy is just internal honesty. It's about being real with yourselves about where the influence actually is, long before you write a press release about it.
And so, this whole explainer really leaves us with one final, unavoidable question. This isn't about some tech that's coming in the future. It's about the power that, thanks to shadow adoption, is probably already operating inside our organizations right now. The real question is, are we mature enough to finally own it?
New video next Tuesday. Subscribe to our channel to be a part of the structural force.